At various points, we cover the crazy things that Tucker Carlson says on his show. And we always remind you that his show is not like ours, where we're just speaking off the cuff and sometimes you find yourself in analogies and metaphors that you don't necessarily intend. Everything that he says is carefully scripted. So when he says something insane, that is part of the plan. And I wanna show you a clip, it's a short clip, where he appears to be advocating on behalf of COVID and in a larger sense, death itself. Take a look.
If death is inevitable, and that may be the one thing you're not allowed to say in this country, but it's still true, then maybe we should pause before we destroy the living in the name of trying to eliminate it.
Okay, so he's saying there, death is inevitable, so why he says destroy the lives, but he means inconvenience. He doesn't want Starbucks to be shut down or bars or whatever. He wants gyms to be open. These are inconveniences that he's been advocating against for months. He says, why inconvenience the living to stop people from dying? Which is just like, we can't stop and think, we're a show, we have to talk. But it merits stopping and thinking about that as a statement, a philosophical or political statement from a very wealthy political commentator. Why inconvenience the living to stop someone from dying?
It's amazing. And it's
next to a gingerbread man.
I love playing little clips of Tucker Carlson without the like meticulously refined rhetorical devices that get him to that insane conclusion. Because I'm sure, because he says if death is inevitable, he's talking about death being inevitable, but like not by COVID. Death by COVID isn't inevitable. It is quite evitable. Not for everyone, but that's what we're talking about. That's the whole point of these discussions, is to find the things that are practical to do to avoid evitable deaths by COVID. That's it. And we're trying to find the sweet spot, bud. And in all of these, like everyone's like, there's these shutdowns and everything. We are, I'll give you what we're asking for. We're asking for, yes, these things that are inconvenient to do, but we're not saying don't give people stuff in return. We are saying, yes, we should shut down certain parts of our daily life to avoid dying by COVID, and in exchange, pass a stimulus bill that offsets those costs for the people that those actions would cripple financially. Done. Where is it now? Now
but
it's just,
he will never acknowledge that part, Brett.
He will never.
It is always either shut down everything and everything falls apart, or just freedom and John Galt and all of that. There's never be responsible and have the government step in to help people.
I love that. There's your daily Ayn Rand reference.
Exactly. Thank you. Yeah. Now she'll DM me. Anyway, but like think about, don't inconvenience the living just to save lives or whatever. He would not apply that to any other issue. Anything. Like he wants us to build a dozens of billions dollar wall to stop people from coming in because he thinks they're a threat to us. He wants us to spend $1 trillion a year on national defense because he's worried about people dying. Not from COVID, doesn't matter. Millions of Americans could die from COVID and it wouldn't matter. There's certain ways that he definitely doesn't mind being inconvenienced financially or having the American people inconvenienced if it stops us from dying. He would not apply that to anything else. But you might say, well, John, you only played a little bit of the clip. Maybe you're being tricky about what inconveniences he's talking about. Maybe he means that like, the shutdowns are gonna kill people or like millions of businesses are gonna shut down. That's what he's talking about. No, that segment was a war on Christmas segment. He goes on to say, politicians understand this threat, except he has to say it in a far more condescending fashion. Politicians understand this threat. They've figured out that Christmas is bigger than they are, and therefore it's a threat to them. Better cancel it. And in fact, they're trying hard. That's what he's talking about there. That they want to cancel, Biden wants to cancel Christmas, and that's unacceptable to save lives because death is inevitable. Well, look, if you follow his philosophy, I will give it to him. Death is inevitable, and he has certainly killed a lot of his followers. We'll even get into Fox people getting COVID just in the last day or so. That is just crazy. That's one of the craziest things he's ever said. And it's a war on Christmas thing. They just finished the war on Thanksgiving. Now it's the war on Christmas. Like, and by the way, we went the weeks leading to the war on Thanksgiving, we kept saying numbers are gonna spike, it's gonna be crazy. But the difficulty in making that case is it's after Thanksgiving. And we're trying to get people to change their behavior beforehand. But now we're about to do round 2. He's gearing up for don't let anyone stop you from killing your grandma this Christmas. But by the time we get to Christmas, we're gonna be seeing the numbers from Thanksgiving. So he's doing this strategy knowing that the numbers are gonna be out of this world in the days leading up to Christmas, but he's still doing it.
They love Christmas at Fox News, not because it is a wholesome message of hopefulness and generosity to the entire nation, but because it's like a whole month of segments they don't really have to think about that much. They're just like, here it's war on Christmas time. Oh, and specifically now, as Fox is tearing its hair out to try to figure out who it's gonna be and how it can navigate the time between right now and when Trump's out of office, and how they can keep all the people that abandoned ship in numbers disproportionate to how all the post-election ratings fell off for other networks. They have a problem as their group is going to Newsmax. I think they are trying to, find the safe harbor of war on Christmas segments as a place where people will gather for something familiar. And so that's it. I mean, this really is like a virtual Christmas meetup for the kinds of conservatives who feel that they need to be embattled and victimized, even though they have every advantage you could potentially afford someone.
That's true. Yeah. I think you have it right on their strategy. And I wonder though, I mean, they just lost in November the demo to CNN for like the first time in like ever. And like conservatives do like that war on Christmas, BS, victimhood stuff. But right now, they're hungry for election fraud and socialist conspiracies and stuff. I wonder if this Christmas stuff is gonna be tasty enough. I don't know. For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/The Damage Report. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.